Welcome to the How to Buy a Home series, where we explain the home buying process from start to finish. I'm here with Mansi, who's sharing all the tips and tricks on how to best work with estate agents and when you're getting ready to buy your first home.
Thanks, Zeli. I'm Mansi. I work at Koodoo, which is a whole-of-market mortgage broker who offers independent mortgage advice. In this video, we will give you practical tips on how to best work with estate agents, understand the difference between leasehold and freehold, and ask the right questions during viewing.
Okay, so now that I'm ready to start viewing some houses, how do I approach estate agents? How do I let them know that I'm a serious buyer?
Yes, you do want to, let them know that you're a serious buyer.
Yeah.
That's really crucial when you start viewings. One of the way is by speaking to a mortgage broker, obtaining a mortgage in principle document, agreement in principle document, or it's often called EIP, MIP.
Yeah.
So make sure you obtain one, because this will demonstrate to the estate agents and the seller that you have that borrowing capacity, you are that serious buyer, and they will, it will put you, in that right position. Be honest and clear when you are, especially communicating your budget, like what kind of budget you have in order to, what kind of market value of the property you're looking for. What are your preferences in terms of if you're looking to buy a house or a flat, and then if you have any timelines, that you would like to complete the purchase by, for example. So any personal preferences that you've got, any budget that you've got, make sure you clearly, honestly communicate to the estate agents.
You might underestimate how important it is when you're in that situation. It's such a big thing to do to buy your first home. So just being honest and communicating clearly is super important. And then I've also heard that there's things like freehold and leaseholds. What are they exactly, and how do I know what's best for me?
It's your personal preference. Flats tends to be cheaper slightly in value. So as long as it suits your budget, it could be a great choice for you. But again, it's down to your personal preference. Now, the difference between flats and houses is mainly the leasehold and freehold.
Okay.
What the definition, first of all, just to help you understand what a leasehold and freehold is. So freehold is the one where you own the property as well as the land outright. You're responsible for the property and its own maintenance.
Okay.
And there is no ground rent, no additional service charge payable on the property. On the other side, now you've got leasehold. With leasehold, the main difference is you do own the property, but not the land.
Okay.
Because on that land, there are multiple flats built.
Got it.
So you do own the flat, the property, but not that land.
Yeah.
Now, in order to basically buy a flat, the flat will always have a leasehold term behind it.
Yeah.
Now, what the leasehold is, basically you're leasing out the land from the freeholders by paying certain amount of ground rent, service charge, which basically covers up all the maintenance cost of the common areas of the property.
Got it. And how long does a leasehold last for?
Leasehold can last from, 100 years to 999 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
It totally depends on the property age. So if you are preferring to buy a flat, it's worth checking with the estate agent how many years of unexpired lease is remaining. Because it's a very crucial aspect of a flat, and it will help you decide which lender, can help. Because if you are looking to buy a flat, make sure anything over 100 years old, lease remaining, is good, but anything under 100 years, always speak to the mortgage broker, because they can then help you identify the right lender for the property.
That makes sense. Why is it important, the length of time that you have left in your leaseholds?
Because if you are really close of the lease expiring term, there will be cost involved to renew the lease.
Oh, really?
And it could be a significant cost. You will need to include the solicitors, you will need to have the freeholders in place, and it's a lot of cost, to be very honest. So that's why you need to be very careful that the lease term is at least over 100 years.
So I'll have to add that to the budget.
Definitely.
Okay, interesting. So even with the leasehold, so if say it's less than 100 years, does that make it harder to sell the property if I wanted to move on?
That is correct. Yes. It's first of all, it can make the property non-mortgageable or difficult to find a mortgage lender.
Okay.
Because mortgage lenders typically, as I mentioned, needs 100 years plus. Anything under 100 years, there may be lenders available, but you're narrowing down the market. But your mortgage advisor should be able to explain that and the options available. And yes, resellability is an issue, and that's one of the factors why mortgage lenders may not entertain this kind of property.
And now I've got everything. I'm ready to view properties. So what questions should I definitely be asking my estate agents?
Lots of questions.
I can imagine.
You should prefer to ask the estate agents.
Okay.
Because it's a significant commitment, a property buying is a significant commitment.
Yeah.
And you need to know that, the property you're buying is worth the value. So the question you should be considering asking is the intention of the seller, why they're looking to sell, if they're looking to downside or if they're looking to upsize because they've got growing family, for education needs, maybe their children are like going to high school and that's the reason. So just try to understand the reasoning behind, and it's not just because the property value is going down, maybe that's why they're looking to sell. So just trying to understand this.
What else should I ask?
Yeah, along with that, there's so many other questions like how long the property has been on the market, has it had many offers in place, how much demand the area is in.
I was going to ask.
So many questions. Yeah. What was the council tax band like? The utility cost, because on the top of the monthly mortgage payment, you will need to budget for all the extra costs like council tax, utility bills.
Yeah,
so
adding those to the budget as well.
Exactly, and it helps you to understand, how much monthly income you need to set aside to cover all these expenses. And finally, have there been any recent renovations on the property, any refurbishments? Are there any warranties, guarantees available? And the most interesting one is if the property is in a chain.
What is a property chain? I've heard that so many times. Could you just explain what that is, Mansi?
Sure. To be very honest, I'm going through this myself right now because I'm myself like going through this home buying journey. I'm a home mover. So what chain mean is when your purchase is dependent on your sale. If one linked disrupts, the whole chain falls through.
You don't want that.
You don't want that, definitely. It can be a lengthy process. It can take longer time, but it's very important. That's why it's very important to understand the intention of the vendors, why they're looking to sell, so that you avoid the risk of being gazumped.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Mansi. As always, you're super helpful. So whether or not you found a property, there's lots of articles on the Times Monumental website and social feeds.